done so many interviews using the equipment that I have currently. And I just did 3 interviews, all of which have a humming noise going on in the background. I cannot for the life of me understand it. I did a mic test and it sounds perfectly fine until it gets onto my laptop, and then there's a noise. So I can't understand what's going on, but I want to apologize now if anyone hears it. I didn't have this issue yesterday, so I'm super confused why I'm having the issue today. I usually have another person with me, but I've had to do everything by myself here in the bubble since we're only allotted one space. So, don't know what's going on, guys. Bear with me. I've tested it again and it still sounds fine on the camera until it gets to my laptop to start editing. Then I start hearing a buzz. So I hope you guys can still listen to the interview and not be absolutely annoyed.
Hey, Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps, and I'm joined now with the one and only Katie Taylor. Katie, I haven't seen you in a while, so I haven't been able to congratulate you on everything you've achieved. I mean, firstly, you're breaking ground in ways that it's never been seen before in the sport of boxing. How does that feel for you?
Well, thanks so much. This is obviously everything that I've always wanted, I guess, when I started. But when I turned pro 4 years ago, I've always wanted to make history. I've always wanted to push back the boundaries, I suppose. And even the fact that over the weekend we're having 3 female world title fights on one card. This is such an historic card, and I'm very, very privileged and blessed to be in this position.
I mean, you've done this in 4 years. Do you ever stop and think like, wow, this is crazy?
I don't really stop and think too much. I'm just taking, I'm the type of person who just takes one fight at a time, and I'm always looking forward, I suppose. But I've always been a history maker, I suppose. As a 15-year-old, I was involved in the first ever female amateur boxing match in Ireland, and from then on, I've always wanted to make history. I've always wanted to I suppose, make some noise in female boxing, and what can I say?
There's been a lot of athletes over the years who, when they reflect back when they were children, they sort of knew that there was something great coming from them. They didn't really know what it was specifically. They knew they had a passion for what they did, but they always sort of knew that they were going to be great one day. Have you always had that sense of confidence?
I think so. I think I grew up in an environment and in a family where that was encouraged, and I was affirmed all the time in my house. I was told I was going to do great things, and that's obviously so important when you're growing up with such supportive parents and a supportive family. And from a very young age, obviously from 9 or 10 years of age, I had this dream of becoming an Olympic champion, and that was before women's boxing even became an Olympic sport. So it was a crazy dream to have at the time, but I knew that it was possible to actually achieve that, and it's been an amazing journey.
I watched a documentary on you, and one of the things that really stood out to me was just how humble you are. And I know you hear that all the time, but honestly, especially in our field, it's really easy to get caught up in the money and the fame and everything that sort of comes along with it. So what is it that you credit that keeps you grounded?
I think I have obviously a great family around me, and I serve an amazing God. I'm a Christian, obviously. That's probably the most important part about who I am. But just really for myself, the fame or anything that doesn't appeal to me at all. I just want to be the best boxer in the world, I suppose. And
it almost appears like you're like no new friends. You know what I mean? Like
no new friends.
Because you're like, you always sort of kept your group tight, and it's always been the people that've been there from the start. You don't really see a bunch of clinger-ons, around you.
Yeah, definitely. I have such an amazing team, a very close-knit team. And the important part is that I'm not surrounded by yes people. They are willing to tell me if I'm in the wrong or whatever it may be, and that's very, very important for myself. I'm surrounded by people who really genuinely want the best for me.
Let's talk a bit about social media, the good and the bad of social media. You've been very well received your entire career. Everyone's always loved you. You've been welcomed by not just the Irish, but the British and the Americans and so forth. when you fought Pursoon, you saw firsthand how quick social media can turn on a person, how quickly you could receive ugly messages. I'm assuming that's something that you've encountered. So when you look back on that two-part question, how did you deal with that personally when cameras were off, you were home just with your family? How did you deal with that internally? And was that why the rematch was so important for you?
I think for myself, whether you win or lose, there is always going to be critics anyway. I don't. I think I've learned over the years to have thick skin, especially when you're on social media. I don't. I try not to take those things to heart. I love the quote from a famous pastor that says, "I don't live for the praises of men, so I won't die by their criticisms." And that's absolutely true. I don't live for the praise of men, and I won't die by their criticisms. And that's exactly it. But I knew stepping back into the dressing room after the first fight that there was going to be a rematch, not because of the criticism, but because of just because of how close the fight actually was. And I was just a bit disappointed with my own performance on that night. I knew I could make the fight a lot more clearer, and I knew straight away that there was going to be a rematch. That's something that I wanted. It wasn't something that was forced on me, and that's why the rematch actually happened.
Well, you did redeem yourself in the second fight, so congratulations on that. But you are fighting Miriam Gutierrez. I did a bit of research on her. She's been through a lot. She's been through hell in domestic abuse. She experienced abuse so much so that her baby was premature. So she's overcome a lot, and she talks about how important this opportunity is for her. When you see someone that hungry, right? It's easy for fighters sometimes to get, as you were saying on stage, complacent. It's easy to say, I'm not going to take this one as seriously as I would, say, the champion. So how do you keep yourself from complacency?
Yeah, I didn't actually realize that about my opponent. That's an incredible strength. But yeah, I think I've learned the hard way. I've obviously suffered defeats as an amateur before, and I think a lot of those defeats actually came when I was being a bit complacent. So I learned the hard way, really. They're very, very tough lessons to learn and important lessons to learn. But complacency is very, very dangerous in any sport and any area of life, really. And I know when you step into the ring being complacent, that's when you actually start losing fights. And this is such a huge fight for myself. It's a huge opportunity for her. So, and this is professional boxing. One punch can actually change the fight. You definitely can't go into the ring complacent in professional boxing. That's for sure.
How do you keep yourself getting up in the morning and training the way that you do when you get to a certain point in your career? Sometimes people are like, I think I got enough money in the bank. I think I'm okay today. How do you keep yourself from that? Because we have seen it happen so many times with fighters.
Yeah, there's definitely days when I'm not in the mood for training, that's for sure. I just think that this is what I was born to do. Really, this is my gift, and I'm still very, very passionate about my sport, which is very important. I'm still as passionate about my sport today as I was 10 years ago. I love what I do, and I'm very, very grateful to be waking up doing something that I absolutely love doing every single day. Even though at times I don't enjoy training, at times I'm not in the mood for training, but I do love my sport. And I just want to continue to make history in the sport. I guess I'm not finished yet. I have no plans to retire anytime soon. So, yeah.
It's important to not to overtrain or overthink. So what do you do in that in-between time? What do you do to keep balance in your life?
I have obviously a great family around me, a great group of friends around me.
You have a hobby. You have something that
I need to have a few more hobbies actually. If you can recommend, and I'd be very grateful.
Do you know what I've learned to start doing and I love is gardening.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Next.
Yeah, you're more on the competitive side, so you'd have to find something that kind of gave you that edge, right?
Yeah, exactly. I do obviously love doing a bit of reading and stuff. I love the cinema. I love watching movies. So I guess that passes a bit of time when I need to. But definitely, I've been asked so many times, "What are your hobbies?" and I don't know what to say to them. So I really do need to find a few more hobbies, I think.
It's almost like when you go in a job interview and someone goes, "So tell me about yourself," and you're like,
"Exactly." That's the hardest question, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that I answered all my questions. I need to ask you about Amanda Serrano. is that, I'm not saying obviously you have a fight to get past this weekend. Is it still something that is very much at the top of your list, or are you sort of past that point and you're just going to move forward?
No, I mean, I would very, very much love that fight. It was obviously scheduled this year a couple of times, and the fight hasn't happened, not because of me. You know, her and her team have pulled out of the fight, so I would still absolutely love that fight. It is a mega fight in women's boxing, and it's a fight that people are really, really interested in. And I have a lot of respect for Amanda Serrano. She is obviously a 7-weight world champion. She's a fantastic fighter. So, but I'm not sure whether she wants to fight or not. Just with the fact that she has pulled out a couple of times. But I'm ready and willing to step into the ring at any stage against her.
Well, Katie, thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate it. I have really enjoyed following your career for some time now. I believe I was present for your very first fight. So congratulations on everything. Any final words?
Well, thanks a lot, Michelle. I just said thank you so much for all the support. I'm so grateful. And yeah, tune in on Saturday night.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye, fight fans.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so by clicking this icon right here, or else